Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today, if you know me or have been around this channel, you know that I have a very weird obsession, not even an obsession. I just enjoy the first Unfriended movie. It's just something that I just always get a kick out of. I'll defend it until I randomly watch it and I'm like, what the fuck was I thinking? But I just really enjoy that movie, and when they announced the sequel, I was looking forward to it until I heard about how they were changing things up with this one. So today we're going to be talking about Unfriended Dark Web. And this is a film that I knew going into it I wasn't going to enjoy it, just because my favorite aspect of the first one was that it was this supernatural element, and that's almost like haunted laptop, haunted Skype. That was the cool thing, because then it makes the, always one step ahead kind of dynamic. It makes a little more sense when that's happening, because it's really, really rough. And I really don't understand why they would abandon the supernatural aspect. What this ultimately turns into is, I don't know, it's kind of cool, but if I had seen this film and it wasn't an Unfriended movie and didn't have quite the same gimmick of just being on the screen the whole time, I think I would have liked this movie, because the whole dark web thing, they make it into kind of like a hostile dark web scenario, which it had potential, except the first film they're now trying to like retroactively go back and kind of change things, and that they're implying that the first film is under the same umbrella, because you can even see they show like a file type that says Laura, which is the main character from the first film. And so it's kind of an implication that they were behind this in the first place, which just no. The first film, there's literally a guy that puts his hand in he puts his hand in a blender. What I don't understand how they're able to justify that with this whole dark web scenario. It made sense being supernatural, and yeah, that was just such a mistake on their part. I don't know if this was original screenplay that then they switched over and made it Unfriended. It kind of feels like it's like that, kind of like how Saw 2 was an original script and they just kind of added Jigsaw. It feels like they may have done that with this film, and I don't understand why they did. Also, can anyone tell me what the age of these characters are? Because I genuinely had no idea. Because I thought they were like early to mid 20s, maybe even late 20s. And then at one point, a character mentioned something about his mom, because they mentioned something about weed, and he doesn't want his mom to find out. Where it's like, wait, what? What? You don't want your mom to find out about your weed? What's happening? So it just made me even more confused about what the age of these characters are, and they didn't really fully clarify at any point during the film what that is. So that was real confusing. They had this whole dynamic with the lead character and his deaf girlfriend, where he's trying to create an app to better communicate with her, and she's all upset because they can't communicate. It's just a way for her to understand him. He can't understand her, which then leads on to this thing where she mentions how she's upset that he didn't take this ASL class seriously. And then he mentions, he's like, oh, well, the instructor said something about how when you are communicating like that, you just be at such a deeper connection. And he's scared by that. This is the guy who's like, I'll do anything for you. Yet he's scared of commitment with her. It was just one of those elements that I think in rewrites they added different things and then forgot about like this part. So yeah, I don't really get that. Speaking of which, another thing that made absolutely zero sense is the girl that gets kidnapped. That they're trying to help. So this girl, she is kidnapped. Like all the articles that they find are from July 2nd. That's what, like, she was she was kidnapped like just before that, or like on July 2nd. So July 1st at like the absolute earliest. Then they show her like Facebook page and like all the like the memorial posts where they're like, oh, we hope we see you, blah blah blah. It's from May. I think it was like May 21st. Why are they like commenting on her shit a month and a half before she was kidnapped? Apparently they just didn't have a line producer on this movie, so yeah, there's just a lot of stuff that just was so dumb. It was so dumb. It honestly made me appreciate the first one, like the first film, a lot more, just because, like, I liked the characters in the first film. They were stereotypical high school characters, but their interactions were interesting and it just worked. In this, you're just kind of like, why are these people friends? They don't even really seem to enjoy each other, and they hide things that don't really make sense to hide. I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. It wasn't what I wanted from a movie like this, because the whole gimmick of being on the screen is cool, except when it's just laziness. Because this lead character, he's constantly like going in and out of this like group Skype call, and there's no mention of it. Like, the people aren't just like, hey, what the fuck, why do you keep like disappearing? No mention of it. And I don't get, there's so many elements like that where it's just like convenience. He's leaving at certain times, like he's like leaving the conversation to pull up other things, and nothing gets mentioned. No one cares that he's being a dick and just ignoring them. Like, I don't know. That part was really, really obnoxious. And also, why is it that anyone that's part of, I think it's called The Circle, when they show up on a screen, why is it all like artifacty and like screwed up? Why? Can they control that too? Or they just have like, are they wearing something that then changes, like, that makes it so it does that? Because then they all show up at the end where it's just like, what? You're on screen now, so did they take off the weird filter? Which, why is that filter there in the first place? What's the point of it? Yeah, it was so dumb. And I think the one thing too that really annoys me is that they even reference the first film, and that they have the clip list of, they have like all the video files, which I assume are them fucking with people, game night. They show the Laura file, but they never, it's just like there. It's one of the only files that they like don't actually like go into, which I take it as they didn't even want to show any of that stuff, because then it's like, oh crap, we had a lot of supernatural stuff in the first film and this doesn't carry over, so we'll just like, the name is enough. That's the only reference point that I could see for the first film. Which, I mean, maybe they were in the same town. I don't know. I don't know the first film that well. So the only thing that I noticed was the name Laura. So that was just kind of dumb and disappointing. Also, when they like are discovering what's going on and they find all these videos and essentially find out that they're snuff films, why do they keep looking at them? They just like, they're like, oh, on to the next one. Oh, on to the next one. And they're like, oh, they like I think they finally realize like what they're doing, where they're like, oh, take a moment back, and then they're like, oh, what's the last one? It's like, it's a smaller file, so like, what's the last one? I'm real curious. So stupid, so stupid. And then this whole thing, it's trying to imply that they've been behind this whole concept. Like, and it's a game night. There's like 23,000 members. This is the 14th time they've done it. Blah, 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 blah. And, like, why? I just don't understand. Genuinely don't get why. Just, why? But that's essentially the question I was asking myself throughout this entire film, was why? What's the point? Why? They didn't need to do a lot of the stuff that they did, and I don't know. I was very disappointed in this, and I likely will never watch it again. But for those of you that haven't seen the first one, go back and watch the first one. The first one's fucking sick. But this one is not worth it, and I really hope that, like, this film, because this was my main concern, is that, because I knew that they were doing this, like, retcon thing, and I was, I really hope that it doesn't ruin the experience of the first one. But it may just do that. So let's hope not, but who knows? That's there's definitely films that's happened for in the past where it's just like, this kind of ruins, kind of like how Hostel 2 kind of ruins the first Hostel a little bit. I never even saw the third one because I didn't want it to be ruined even further, which, because that's just kind of how sequels can go. You can just be trying to do something a little too different and it just doesn't work. And I think that's the case with what happened here. It just doesn't work. Consider this to be one disappointed person. We'll see you next week. Hey guys, make sure to comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And look, I even have a new ending finally. Holy crap, it took forever. And I'm just saying random stuff that I don't need to be saying. Oh well. And end.